it's Patsy. So I'm back to do this Tarot Vlogmas 2021. It's a challenge that Papa Squirrel started. I'm only going to do cards 1 to 7. I may do the other ones at a later date. I will have to look at the other questions. I was going to try and do these last week, so I was within the 1 to 7 days. It just didn't happen, just didn't get the chance to jump on and do them. So I'm coming on to do them today. And like I said, whether or not I'll carry on with other ones, I'll see what time I get and what the questions are and everything. But so the first, I'm going to use the light seers to answer this one. And the first one is, what major Arcana card reminds you of the holiday season and why? So I've chosen the Star. I love this card. I love the card, I love the Star anyway, but I love this depiction in this deck. So anyway, the Star. When I've not been brought up in a religious family. We never went to church or anything like that. But in the school in the 70s when I grew up, it was, we used to have morning assemblies, and the lead up to Christmas was always the nativity and the stories from the Bible about the Star of Bethlehem and the wise men following the star, etc. So when I see the Star card for Christmas, it kind of all relates for me. And to me, the Star card is all about hope, healing, peace, even miracles. And it doesn't matter how dark things are for you at the time. When this card comes up, it brings you that hope. It brings you that glimmer of something better to come. And like I said, miracles can happen. And this card, when it comes up, you know, it says that she's only holding on to it by a thin strap. But that's a hope, you know, that is always there. However dark things go, it can't stay like that forever. There's always that glimmer of hope. So that is the card that out of the majors I would associate with the holiday season. So the second question is, what minor arcana card reminds you of the holiday and why? So I've got two cards. The first one is the Ten of Cups. This is the cup of family and being home and just that family unit to me. So to me, the holidays, or as I call it, Christmas, is all about the family. And the other card that I've chosen is the Six of Cups. I love this depiction. But yeah, because again, I think when you get to this time of year, you start thinking back of the people that's no longer in your life, that are no longer here, and remembering times when as I think as family was complete. Like I said, I was brought up in the 70s. I was one of 4 children. My mum was one of 12. My grandparents had 12 children. And every Christmas, from Christmas Eve right through to the New Year, it was just a time where all the family gathered at the grandparents' house. Not just family, but friends, neighbours. And it was just laughing, drinking, eating, talking, and just really, really enjoying the time. It didn't matter what your problems were, you just forgot them for that short period of time over the holiday, to really just enjoy being together. Some people you hadn't seen for a long time, some people you saw all the time, but lives was always busy with work and whatever, so you didn't always see everybody daily. So it was an important time of the year to everybody to connect back at my grandparents and just, you know, enjoy life. At that time as well, I mean, it's completely different to the time we live in now. Holiday season was the time when shops closed, factories closed, and a lot of people had the whole week with no work. So it was a time that people could enjoy themselves, not be having to get up at 6 in the morning or whatever. Do you know what I mean? They could just thoroughly enjoy that period of time with family and friends. And that's something I've tried to do once my grandparents were no longer here, to keep that family unit enjoying Christmas and getting together, even if you didn't always see them at the other times of the year. So to me, the holiday season, you know, Christmas is all about families and remembering those that are no longer here. So the third question is, what is your favourite card in the deck and why? Now mine might seem a bit of a strange choice, but it's the Eight of Swords. I as somebody who suffers anxiety and depression, I used to get stalked by this card for a long time, but it taught me a lot of lessons. This card is a great teacher. It doesn't come out so often now, but when it does, I know that I really need to take a look at what's going on with me, what I'm not seeing, why I've gone into my head and overthinking and lying to myself, basically, because this card to me is always, I overthink things. I think things are a lot worse than what they actually are. I get myself trapped within myself, sort of thing. So when this card comes up, it sort of says, hey, Patsy, stop. Have a look what's really going on, not what's going on in your head, but what's really going on. So this is a great lesson for me, this one. It has taught me so much. And now when it comes up, I know that there is a message and a lesson within the situation, what's going on around me, to get sorted. So this is my favourite card in the deck. So the next question is question 4. What is your least favourite card in the deck and why? I don't specifically have a card that I dislike. There's some cards that are difficult, I suppose, but I don't dislike them. They all have their message. However difficult it is to hear, it needs to be heard. So there's none I don't particularly dislike, but there is a sequence of cards that I can honestly say I do dislike, and that is the Death, the Tower, and the Ten of Swords. So individually, I don't dislike any of them individually. The Death, I actually really like the Death card, but like I say, individually I don't dislike them. But when they come up in a sequence like this, I can honestly say I dislike them. It's only happened to me a couple of times in readings, and both times I lost somebody really close to me. So I can honestly say I dislike this sequence of cards. Like I say, it's a difficult, if they come up now, then I would really be worrying who was going to be coming out of my life. Do you know what I mean? Because it only ever come up that twice before, and both times somebody close passed. So yes, for me, it's not a card, it's this sequence of card. But individually, I don't dislike them. It's just that, you know, when they all come out together. So that is my answer to that question. So question 5 is, what are your divination challenges? And I haven't really got a card to show you for this one. The challenges that I face are to do with my eyes. To a lesser degree, the skin condition as well. But because the skin condition can affect my eyes too, so it's kind of like, if I have a good day with one thing, then like at the minute my rosacea is flaring up, which also affects my eyes. So that is a challenge for me, because I find it difficult to read, and audiobooks has its place, but they're not the same as having a book and being able to mark things and reference things and write, you know, notes down and whatever. And on this journey, we never stop learning, do we? You know, it's just a constant learning, something, going deeper into something, and wanting to face challenges, to learn more all the time, without them being able to read and write for too long. It becomes quite of a challenge to try to find ways around it, and it can prove to be rather difficult, because nothing beats looking at that book, reading it, taking notes, referring back to the notes. When your eyes are like mine and you find it difficult to spend too much time doing that, you have to find it in short bursts when you can, and that can be very frustrating, and it's that frustration that I find very challenging. So for me, it's not so much as a divination that's challenging, it's the physical ailments that are the challenge for me to be able to do what I want to do, and to learn what I want to learn in the way that I'm used to being able to. I used to sit and read and write and take notes and learn constantly, day in, day out, night in, night out, you know, hours at a time. now I'll be lucky if I can do it for a few minutes at a time. Very frustrating. So yeah, that is my divination challenge. It's not so much to do with the divination, but it's the being able to learn new things and just to take things further. So the next question is, what card best represents your spirituality currently? And to me, it's the Hermit. I'm a bit of a hermit anyway. I spend an awful lot of time on my own in the house. So I'm a hermit in that respect, that I tend to sort of be a bit of a loner. I always have been. Nothing wrong with that. But I don't need other people to be with constantly. I like to spend time alone. I like to do things from by myself. But on the spirituality level, a lot of my spirituality is that going within, finding the answers within myself, whether that's through tarot, meditation, or anything like that. But anything what makes me really look into myself, sort of thing, is that's my spirituality. And nature, I love how she's out in nature and she's sitting there, and the sea and everything. I love to go to the beach. I love to sit along the beach and listen to the waves and listen to the birds and just look around at nature and everything. That to me is my spirituality. And I'm not an outwardly spiritual person, or certainly not religious. I don't go to church, nothing like that. But spirituality to me is in everything I do, everything, it's just part of my everyday life. Different practices that I do is all part of that spirituality, but it's not something that if I went outside, people would look at me and say, oh, she's whatever, because it's here. It's not something that is displayed by going to a specific church or belonging to a specific religion. Nature is my church. Do you know what I mean? As that saying, quite a famous saying, nature is my church, and I truly believe that it's within me and it's out in nature and everything that I do on a daily basis. Hope that makes sense. So that is my answer for that. And the last question is, share a spread you love and why. I'm not a spread person. I think I've said this before. I do use spreads for past life work and ancestor work, but on a normal reading, I will usually start with 3 cards. 3 cards tells you so much anyway. But if I need to build on that, then I'll just pull extra cards. I'll be intuitively guided to pull more cards if needed, and when to stop pulling cards. So I don't have specific spreads for specific places with specific meanings. It's just an intuitive thing. The most cards that I'll pull out on a tarot read is 9 cards, the 9 card box. But again, if I need to pull more cards out, I will. And I don't have placements as such. I just set the intention before I pull cards for what I want to know, and I'll just do that, like I said, intuitively rather than being set to specific placements. So I've got no spread to show you. I know a lot of people do love spreads, and I have a book of spreads. And sometimes I'll pull it out and I'll try one, but I just find for me, it is better for me just to intuitively pull. So that's my answer. So that is my 1 to 7. I will look at the other questions and see if I can answer any more of them and get the chance to come back on and to do some more. But it's been a fun few, questions to answer. So it's the Tarot Vlogmas 2021 by Papa Squirrel, and I'm really enjoying watching other people answering these questions. So I will be back. I'm not sure if it's with this, but I'll be back at some point soon, and I will see you then. Bye for now.